You may have seen headlines like NAR agrees to slash commissions, or the death knell for broker fees, homeowners to see big drop in selling costs after realtors agreed to eliminate notorious commission scheme. I've seen so many headlines falsely suggesting that the cost of hiring an agent is going to drop because there will be an end to price fixing. Well, that's simply not the case. There's no such thing as a commission scheme. Commission rates have never been dictated by NAR nor fixed by any group of companies whatsoever. The only reason there's even a loosely correlated typical commission rate is because of what has been charged customarily from a historical context. Commissions always have and always will be fully negotiable. The outcome of all this will not result in a reduction of fees. There's nothing in the NAR settlement that changes or reduces what realtors can charge. The biggest change is that there's a requirement of a buyer representation agreement, which means that buyers will now guarantee their buyer's agent commission. This is good news for realtors. Think about this. Do you think it was the choice of real estate agents to work for free for their buyers? Do you think if a buyer's agent had the choice to bill hourly or accept a retainer or bill a flat fee for services, they would prefer to spend weeks or months driving around, showing properties, writing contracts at all hours, spending their own resources to facilitate showings, all with no guarantee of getting paid? Of course not. A buyer's agent works on spec. That means they do a bunch of work where they lose money with the potential of gaining profit only if they consummate a sale. So from this perspective, one could argue the NAR settlement is an improvement for realtors, specifically an improvement for buyer's agents, because they actually have a contractual obligation from their client to pay a commission if they sell a property. Of course, that is the optimistic view of the NAR settlement. Conversely, it does create slight administrative hassle as there will be no commission published on the MLS. Instead, it will have to be requested through paperwork. And while I'm confident that there are workarounds to streamline the seller cooperating with the buyer in order to make sure that all agents are fairly compensated, there will be a transition period of trial and error. Now, I will say, personally, I'm unfazed by this settlement whatsoever. As a broker, it just means I need to change a required document checklist and educate agents when they have questions, but aside from that, it's business as usual. However, for the agents that are unhappy about the NAR settlement and the obligations that come with it, I have good news for you. You don't have to be obligated by this settlement. You can sidestep it. It pertains to realtors, not necessarily real estate agents. If you're a real estate agent that's not a realtor, none of this pertains to you. You are exempt from the settlement and all of the restrictions, like not publishing the commission on the MLS, the requirement to use a buyer representation agreement, the administrative hassle of requesting your commission through a reimbursement from the seller or seller concession. None of that pertains to you. In theory, if you choose to not be a realtor, you can still carry on selling real estate as you always have with zero changes. This means you find an independent MLS, and I've linked to the largest independent MLS in the country in the description. You use your own forms, and I've also linked to open source real estate forms in the description. And you purchase your own lockbox, of which there are plenty perfectly good lockbox alternatives, and you've completely opted out of the whole NAR settlement paradigm. Go ahead, list your property on that MLS, go publish a buyer's agent commission, write your offer like you always have with the anticipation of the commission that's being offered on the MLS. My point is, don't feel trapped, because if you choose to be a realtor member, then you're opting into these restrictions. You are opting into procedures that apply to how you do business. And if you do not become a realtor, if you simply sell real estate as an independent broker or agent, then you go on just as you would, paying no mind to the NAR settlement or whatever other drama comes along with NAR and realtor membership. The fact agents can opt out of the NAR settlement alone should hush the most annoying critics of real estate agents and their outlandish fantasy that somehow they'll save on commission once this settlement is instituted. Their opinion is inconsequential to begin with simply because they are not and have never been obligated to hire a real estate agent. So if the critics are opposed to paying a commission, the good news is there's no government requirement that they have to hire an agent. They can go sell for sale by owner and they can save on the commission. But after running a for sale by owner division for several years, empirical data has shown me that a very, very limited percentage of the population is capable of conducting a sale of real estate without the guidance of a professional, without the whole thing exploding in their face. Now, on a final note, if you are someone that is determined to be independent and not a realtor, take heed of the warning witnessed and the lesson learned by the Sitzer-Burnett lawsuit against NAR and all the other legal issues lodged against NAR and large real estate companies. The big lesson is to make sure you have an overwhelming amount of advisories and disclosures in both listing agreements and purchase agreements explaining to the consumer that they have no obligation to hire a real estate professional for representation, but should they elect to hire one, then they also elect to pay a negotiable commission that is not fixed by law, nor even a standard rate, but rather the rate is negotiated between the principal and their representative. Because it must be abundantly clear that these consumers are made aware of the true cost of hiring a professional and alleviate any and all doubt to prevent opportunistic lawyers from coaxing voluntary consumers into thinking that they're victims of some commission-fixing scheme. Please leave a comment and thank you for watching.